Hello everyone, welcome back to Summer Gacha Guides! Do you want to know if your summer servant is good enough to spend your hard-earned summer courts on? Great, then let me get you the summer information necessary for it. Today's topic servant is the hot banana, Summer Ibaraki Douji. We will be covering all these points that you see on screen, so allow us to jump into her stats to start us off with. So Summer Ibaraki is a 4-star single-target Lancer class servant, meaning she will do extra damage against archers and is weak to sabers. She has 9,133 attack at level 80, meaning she's got about a middling attack stat compared to other 4-star Lancers. Her HP is 12,354 at 80, which again, a little middling, a little above average on that, so overall some average stats there. Let's check her hidden stats. Her hidden stats are a little bit more impressive. First off, her NP gain per hit is 1.06%. That is extremely high. That is higher than most other servants in the game. Now, usually that's coupled with very low hit count, but as we can see for her, she has 4 hits on her quick cards, 2 hits on her arts card, 4 hits on her buster card, and 5 on her extra cards. Those are pretty good hit counts overall, not bad. Her star weight is 90, which is around average, and her star creation rate is 11.7%, which, again, around average, maybe a little above average. So, other than her MP charge on her attack, she's got relatively average stats, but that MP charge per hit is quite high. Now, let's take a look at her deck in Noble Phantasm. We are running a 2 quick card, 1 arts card, 2 buster card, non-standard 2/1/2 deck with Summer Ibaraki. As for her Noble Phantasm, it is called Encomium Moriae, in Praise of Folly, Returning Bridge Ichijo. This is a 3-hit Buster Noble Phantasm, single target. It deals defense ignoring damage to the enemy it hits. It gains her critical stars based on overcharge between 30 and 50 critical stars. And finally, provides a demerit which reduces her critical star generation rate by 50% for 3 turns. Not the worst demerit in the world. Her critical star rate isn't the greatest, and you're not really intending to use her to make critical stars, so not much of a demerit at all. Overall, this is a pretty decent NP, can output some pretty high damage, and is especially good against any enemies that like to stack defense on themselves by just ignoring it. Now, as for her passives, she's only got 2 going for her. She has Magic Resistance C, increasing her own debuff resistance by 15%, and Madness Enhancement D, increasing her buster performance by 4%. Overall, pretty weak passives, nothing special going on here. Let's take a look at her skills. First off, we have Demonic Magic Water. This provides 3 3-turn buffs. It gives the party an attack boost between 10 and 20%, so basically charisma. Ibaraki herself also gains MP damage up between 20 and 30%, and NP generation rate up between 20 and 30%, as if her NP rate wasn't already high enough. Her next skill, I'll Not Go Home Yet, removes her own debuffs and increases her max HP for 3 turns between 1,000 and 2,000. Not particularly amazing, it's kind of a remix of her Disengage skill for her normal Berserker form. Finally, her third skill, Summertime Trouble Girl. This is a critical star absorption skill that will give her 300 to 500% absorption for 1 turn, along with critical damage up between 30 to 50% for 1 turn, and has a random ability that can be good or bad. It'll either increase her debuff resistance by 30% for 1 turn, or decrease her debuff resistance by 30% for 1 turn. With that, you can actually have a chance to resist the demerit on her Noble Phantasm if you get lucky. Overall, it's an okay 1-turn buff, but 1-turn buffs in general aren't generally something to get all that excited about. So for these skills, what materials do we need to level up? Unfortunately, I got some bad news. Hers are a little expensive. Each skill requires the following: 8 lamps of demon sealing. Right here. 36 unlucky bones, 60 stimulus gunpowders, and 20 seashells of reminiscence. In total, if you want to max out her skills, that is 24 lamps, 108 bones, 180 gunpowders, and 60 seashells. That is more expensive than the 5-star Summer Zone skills. I feel like they might have accidentally gave the costs for Summer Zone skills onto her and flipped them and never flipped them back, because wow. Well, let's see, does Summer Ibaraki stack up against her competition well enough to merit that? Well, her main competition as a 4-star single-target Lancer are Li Shuwen, Vlad III Extra, Medusa, Ana, and Summer Raiko. To be honest, Summer Ibaraki overall has pretty average performance, so she's on par with the others, maybe outdoing Li Shuwen a bit, because he's a bit weak. And not quite living up to Summer Raiko's power, because I would say she's the most powerful of all of these servants here. So again, she competes decently, but she doesn't really set herself out as anything amazing. In my personal opinion, she's a solid servant. She's just not amazing. She can ignore defense, which gives her the edge against opponents who like to bulk up. It's a pretty good niche to hit, but otherwise she puts out average damage. She's a little bit tanky. She'll get the job done, but even if you compare her to 3-star Kukulin, let's be honest, Ku is just better in general, and he's free. But if you want to roll for Summer Ibaraki, then what skills should you prioritize if you happen to roll her? Well, I would suggest her first skill first. This is a fantastic skill. Attack up, MP damage up, MP rate up for 3 turns on each. Fantastic. It's easily her best skill. Next up, I would go for her third skill, Summertime Trouble Girl. It gives her 1 turn of pretty good critical follow-up for usually after your MP turn, because you make a bunch of stars there. And leave her second skill off for the longest. It's the weakest skill. It doesn't scale all that well. It goes from 1,000 HP to 2,000. It's not a huge difference. And really, the best part of it is it removes her own debuffs. That's it. So overall, not that strong. As for craft essences to equip her with, as always, if you want a quick MP, Kaleidoscope and Imaginary Element are good. But if you want to try and specialize with her, she doesn't really have any big specialties. So getting anything to increase her Buster cards, her critical is decent, any sort of attacks ups, those are the general things you're looking for. MP damage up is also fine, so anything that helps with that. First off, we've got Golden Sumo Tournament. It's got a 15% attack up and 50% starting charge. Very simple. The attack up is nice. Next, we have Aerial Drive, which is an event CE. Golden Sumo Tournament is too, but this is one you can get very soon if you don't have it. It gets you a 10% Buster up, 10% MP damage up, and 50% starting MP charge, which is pretty good for Summer Ibaraki. And finally, Victor of the Moon. It is a decent CE with a 15% Buster up and 25% critical damage up, if you can afford to forgo any starting MP charge, which honestly Summer Ibaraki can get away with not having pretty well, considering the fact that she has a very high NP generation stat. Now, what servant should we group her with? Oh, look, Waver. Waver has 50% total MP charge on a single servant, attack up, defense up, critical damage up. It's everything you could possibly want. It's a no-brainer. Next up, we have Merlin, our premier Buster support. He has a 20% charge and attack up with his Charisma, and the Hero Creation EX, which can provide massive Buster crits on a Buster-focused servant, is of course something that you always want when you're trying to set up your Buster setups. And finally, we have Shakespeare for your cheaper support. He has a 20% ally MP charge and a 1-turn very strong Buster buff to make him sort of like a mini Merlin, if you don't have a Merlin available for yourself. These 3 are all really good supports for her, and what I would suggest in general to help her out. So too long didn't watch? Very simple. She's a servant you can roll if you want. She's okay, nothing great. She's not bad, she's not great. She's average. She's decent. She's helpful against defense spamming enemies with her defense ignoring MP. She's a little bit tanky, but otherwise, nothing particularly special. But if you need a really good reason to roll for her, I've got one for you right here. She's adorable. Look at her. Look at this fashionable banana. Isn't she adorable? I'd be happy to pull her on a spook. Anyway, let me know your opinions on Ibaraki Douji below, and if you enjoyed the video, check out my Twitch channel, all that stuff. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.